This is Matrix Lord 212 for a guide for new trophy hunters. Hello, everybody. Hello, gamers. So, as much as I would love to just finish off every single platy bird or pretty bird, and if you think there's 9 per region, which in some cases it's not, I realize that. So, correction, they're not released in every region. There's some that are not, that probably will be released later. But anyway, as much as I want to beat, 30 some odd games of the same type of thing, I get bored real fast. And I have to jump around sometimes. So, I'm working on Joey Jupiter account, and I'm done just about with the Pretty Bird Platy Birds. I'm going to get the 9 from, I think this is region Europe, and then I'm going to be off to another game I'm going to share with you guys. So we're going to play the jumping games. Yes, the famous jumping pizza, hot dog, all these games that pissed off Sony so much that they had to completely change the policy, the instant platinums that really annoyed the crap out of them. So take a look at this. Okay, so we're going to start off with the jumping burger, okay? This is from Thigh Games. They came out with 2 versions of each game. One, the jumping, let's say, burger, and then the jumping burger turbo, okay? So at least 2 versions of this. So what you do is you basically hold down the cross button, and the burger jumps up and down. And after you reach, let's say, 50, you get a trophy. And every 50, I believe, you get a trophy. So it starts to vibrate. There you go. So you get a trophy. And there it pops up, right? So this will keep happening. It's a lot slower, the regular version. So I'm not going to do the entire thing. But you get the gist of it. Once it reaches 100, here we go. There's another one. All right. And then I think it's after 500 or 600, you get like the platinum. So that's a jumping burger. Okay. So then they came out with a turbo version of each of their creations. So it would be faster for trophy hunters to get the platinums. So if they came out with the jumping burger, they came out with the jumping burger turbo. And when you hit the cross button, it's supposed to be half the time to get the platinum. Supposed to be. We shall see how long it takes. Now this should have the trophy pop around 500, 600, but sometimes it's like 7, 8. We shall see. Maybe it's longer, maybe it's 1,000. But it's just faster. In theory. Okay, so platinum's still not there, but it's supposed to be faster. Like I said, it's populating faster. All right, so there's the platinum. Okay, so after a while, Thigh Games decided they wanted even more versions of their games. So they came up with holiday ones. The Jumping Burger Halloween. Okay. And it's supposed to look in disarray. It's supposed to look scary kitchen. Meaning not all the dishes and everything. Haha. And basically, it's the same thing. It's just a black burger, like a dark, scary, spooky burger. It's supposed to be. But same game. You just jump up and down, same price. The turbo one's more money, of course. And yes, there was basically 4 versions of this game. The Jumping Burger Turbo, Jumping Burger Halloween, Jumping Burger Halloween Turbo. So I'm showing you right now Jumping Burger Halloween. Okay. And basically, they went crazy filling up the PlayStation Store with tons of these games every week. They came out with the Jumping Hot Dog. They came out with the Jumping Fries. They decided to come out with the Jumping Coffee, the Jumping Soda. They came out with the Jumping Muffin, the Jumping Wrap, the Jumping Churros, the Jumping Salad, the Jumping Pasta, the Jumping Wrap, the Jumping, God, there's so many of them, and so it got ridiculous. And other companies started to put out, like, say there was a company, Race Journey or something, and then Race Journey Nitro. They didn't want to call it Turbo, so they called it Nitro, meaning you had a nitro engine. It was super fast. So that company started putting out these race games. And then another company put out where you had to hold down the X button for like 1,000, I believe. The Bat D, the Dog G or something. I'll show you that in other videos. But the whole concept of instant platinums expanded so much that gamers, even on the leaderboards, had to play these games in order to stay afloat because everybody was buying these games. They were cheap, and now instead of just getting A-list games and certain games, the top gamers had to play these games to compete on the leaderboards, whether you liked it or not, really. And then after a while, Sony got disgusted with this, and they put some guidelines down. But these instant platinums didn't go away. They kind of took on new forms. They weren't allowed to copy and paste, so weren't allowed to do the same thing. So, like, in other words, no more jumping burgers and with different versions of it. But they kind of got creative. They're like, well, and I originally said basically what they probably have to do to survive. And just about everything I said came true. If you put out a quiz game, it's not a copy-paste because the questions and answers are always different. So Die Games, who does the Jumping Burger, took advantage and put out tons of quiz games. And they do that now. They actually, instead of having 2 versions, there's 4 versions of, different quizzes and stuff for each country or state or whatever. All right, so this is the Jumping Burger Halloween Turbo. So like I said, these companies got out of control, putting out multiple different versions of the games. And, people are buying these games up because platinums are pretty fast. You get them in like a couple minutes. So, again, you hold the cross button down. And I call these, and I dubbed all these games instant platinums because all you have to do is hold the button down. There is no effort into it. It's not like you have to figure out what to do. You just hold the button down, you get the platinum in 2 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever. And that's basically why I dubbed them instant platinums. Any games that you don't do that, where you have to put a little effort into it or something, I call easy platinums. But these are the instant platinum games. So basically, if you're a trophy hunter and you're starting out as a beginning trophy hunter, and you want to get a lot of platinums, I recommend you buy, the jumping games. If you're not offended, and you want to get a whole bunch of platinums, okay. So, but the thing is, I recommend you buy a little notebook or a little pad to keep track of all these games because there's so many. It's very easy to miss games. Like I said, there are so many games. There was the Jumping Chocolate Santa and the Jumping Gingerbread Cookie or whatever it was. And it was a Jumping Cookie, the Jumping Muffin. It got ridiculous. So, I have my friend Mia Moon, who is also known as Unknown, and he'd be like, hey, you missed the Japanese version of the PS4 version of this. And I'm like, oh, cool, okay, I'll go buy that. Or you missed the Asia version of the PS5. And I'm like, okay, but again, I even have notebooks too, but I miss stuff sometimes. And sometimes games are not released on every region. So in other words, these games like the Jumping Burger sometimes would take a couple months later and then be released in Asia and Japan on PS4 or PS5, or in some cases just PS5. And like now, the Jumping Rap just came out, I think, for Japan and Asia PS5, but not PS4. So now I got to wait for that. Just like I realized that Pretty Bird or Flappy Bird, whatever, Platy Bird, 9 is not released in Japan or Asia, or something like that. So we got to wait for that. So hope you enjoyed these segments. I'm going to try to make more videos tomorrow or whatever, maybe later. But yeah, if you're a beginning trophy hunter, you buy these games. All right, take care. Bye for now.